Forsaken Ones, Part 2. So I figured I'd do a candid, like a discussion where you actually see me and you actually can see how I feel about this particular topic because there's a very high level of loneliness uh, that men experience, and that's something that's near and dear to me because I am I am not an incel, but I used to experience a very similar high level of this kind of loneliness, and I still do to some degree. Even though I've been fortunate enough to actually have, some skills and some abilities to actually get women every now and then. So it's not as bad, but sometimes I would come home and I would like cry and I would just sit in my room and not really just not really be uh, it was just a hard time. I think men need to support each other. I think we need to lift up the men who are being considered incels. A lot more men are involuntarily celibate than women, and a lot of other men who are successful with women realize. And I think uh, this is kind of one of those times where we should show compassion and we should try to actually lend a hand. Now, I know particularly this would be probably more difficult uh, for some more than others. And I've seen compassion on both sides. I've seen compassionate women in this regard and compassionate men. Um, One of the things I've noticed that women find annoying is that the men who are in this lot tend to want a romantic relationship once the woman starts to show emotional consideration and stuff like that. Because a guy is not getting his needs met by another woman, he ends up falling for the woman or something like that. Um, this is going to be a continuing series. I'm going to talk about ways in which guys who fall into the incel category, ways that you can develop the skills and ways that you can deal with your insecurities and things like that, that we can get through to get you to the point where you can become desirable to the opposite sex instead of just shaming you and laughing at your problems and things like that, because I don't think that actually solves anything. And I think people who are saying, oh, they're misogynist and things like that, I don't think that's going to solve anything. I think that's pointless. So I'm going to do a video series, and it's going to, I think it's going to be good. Um, it's probably going to be a long one, probably like a 9 or 10 part, and I'll just do it continually. But I think it's harder for men to actually make communities where we support each other because we're always competing for women. And incels, a lot of them are just men who don't know how to get women. Um, they're just men who were taught by their mothers. And so, in this regard, uh, I think it's now there are some things that I think need to be worked on, like the personality of some of the people in this part. Shout out to Rom Wills. He says that some some of the men who are nice, some of the aspects of them thinking that they should be able to get women because they treat them well is due to entitlement. Um, I think we should take the criticism and we should work with it. Any criticism we get, even from the opposite side, because a lot of times we'll do a tit for tat. The women will be like, "Well, it's the men," and the men will be like, "Well, it's the women." What if both are valid and we just need to work on ourselves, and that will kind of solve it? So I'm gonna actually put up active things that can be done. Like I do meditation and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start putting up like words of affirmation and stuff like that that can be utilized to actually make something happen as opposed to just talking. Because when I look at online forums of people talking about this stuff, I see a bunch of I see people talking about the issues, but it's kind of like the oppression Olympics, and it's kind of on both sides. The males, their needs aren't being met, and neither are the women's. So they're kind of just vying for the attention. They want the spotlight, and I can see that that's not really helping. It's just kind of going in circles. Um, but for the men who are incels, who do fall into that category, just know that there's people out there. I would be considered pre-select, not a select man. Shout out to Rom Mills. He kind of came up with the term. Um, I'd be considered pre-select. There's a lot of women who've shown interest in me, and some of these women are very attractive. And sometimes I just fumbled the box and didn't know how to get it or something like that, and it fell apart. But they at least showed initial attraction, so I at least got to experience what it's like to be desired, whereas a lot of men haven't even experienced that. So I have a lot of compassion for that, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to support uh, these men because I think a lot of them are like me. They have a lot of potential. It's just no one sees it yet, and they're kind of in that invisible realm. And there's things they can do like working out. So, for example, I'm gonna post workout videos and stuff like that, and I'm gonna post the routines that I do and just show what type of groups I'm trying to work and stuff like that. This channel is also partly for my own self development. So, yeah, um, I think as men, I think the red pill, the manosphere movement is kind of like a renaissance for men. We're we're learning about ourselves, and we're learning about our the women we love. We're learning about the opposite sex. We're learning things that we never thought we would learn, and we're learning them very later on in life. And it's interesting how it's happening. But yeah, this is gonna this is my attempt to counteract all the because there's a lot of vitriol from the women's side where they're just saying, "Oh well, nice guys aren't really nice because if they were really nice, then they get really angry after they get rejected and stuff like that." It's like, well, no one likes rejection. I do admit we got to teach guys how to deal with rejection more because they deal with it more often. Some guys overreact. In rare cases, they go to the extreme and hurt people and stuff like that, and we can't have that. It's not okay. But for the majority of men, we have to understand their condition. We can't just use extreme examples to sidestep that. And that's what I'm attempting to do. I'm attempting to actually um, create solutions. So, for the sake of this video, one of the solutions that I'm going to propose for any guy watching this who feels intense sadness for being alone, he doesn't feel like he's wanted by the opposite sex. Um, get a haircut. Not being funny. It makes you feel good. Um, you feel more attractive. It raises your self esteem. Um, take a shower, but when you take a shower, byproducts you actually feel are actually going to give you, like, buy things for your body that you actually think are going to help it out. Um, I'll throw some more ideas out in the future. I'm just kind of throwing out some quick ideas, but you'll see more of me. I'll show my face to make it more personal. Usually in my videos, I just kind of, um, in my videos, I typically just, you just hear my voice, but I need people to know that I'm sincere about helping people. And even though this is a men's channel, I also do want to just help people in general. But yeah, for the title, I called it The Forsaken Ones. I think the first video I did on the Forsaken Ones was pertaining to people who were abandoned by people they loved and how this changed them for the worse. Um, now, for the second installation, is talking about people who were simply invisible or who were just rejected by lack of association. People who are lower on the social ladder. Um, there are men who see your pain. Like I see the pain of the incels. Um, but one thing I can't do is just say, I can't just sit here and say, hey, um, I can't sit here and help you wallow in the pain. So I'm going to throw out solutions as much as I can. Um, and it's funny because I'm still on a journey to my own self discovery. I'm still going through all my stuff, but yeah, these are my plans for the future. There's other stuff I plan on doing, but this is like really this is something that it's been really big for me. Um, After the falling out of my relationship with my ex, um, developing myself and becoming the man I want to become is uh, something that's propelling me to help others, and it's giving me a sense of purpose. So, with that being said, you'll hear more from me in the future.